Do you want to learn to code?
Well, you have access to a wealth of free and affordable resources online, such as Treehouse, lynda.com, Codecademy, Codeschool, and many, many more. So what are you waiting for?
What's that? You've already done those? And yet you still don't feel like you know how to code. And you still cannot write a program from scratch.
Yeah, okay, I see. You are in the so-called Gulf of Despair. You see, this is what happens a lot. First, you go through this hand-holding honeymoon phase where you're guided through a trail, and going through this trail is doable. It's fun. It's easy even. With every step you take, every lesson you go through, every challenge that you pass, you gain confidence. And you're thinking, coding isn't so bad. I can do this. And as you go along and you get closer and closer to the end of the trail, you're thinking, I'm almost there. Soon, I'll be a real programmer.
Little did you know that the end is only the beginning.
Here's the thing. Once the honeymoon period is over, you're on your own. And things ain't so easy anymore.
And job ready is still a ways away.
Despite this vast amount of knowledge that everyone has access to, almost everyone, a lot of learners are still struggling to learn. Maybe you're one of them. So why is this? Programming is kind of like cooking, but as you'll see, it's also kind of not like cooking. When you learn to cook a dish, you follow a recipe. Chefs, in contrast, they don't follow recipes. Chefs create and improvise, experiment and explore with different ingredients, different flavors, and different techniques. Chefs tailor meals to the occasion, depending on who they cook for, depending on what ingredients they have, and also depending on how they feel like on that particular day. They could come up with an entirely different meal. Good chefs often create something that they've never created before. When we cook, as long as we know how to follow instructions, we're gonna do all right. People will be fed and they'll be fulfilled. When you learn programming, however, yes, you can follow instructions. Yes, you can follow a code tutorial or a video or a course. And yes, you will end up with a working program. But the difference is, most likely, no one will ever use that program. So here's the thing, with food, there is actually a good reason to duplicate the work and the effort in order to feed more people. But with code, there's simply no point from an economics point of view to rewrite the exact same code twice. Because once a program has been made, you can copy it as many times as you want without costing anything. You can distribute it to 1 million people. It wouldn't cost you more than the effort you put in to write that first program. And therefore, the only reason people write programs, again, from an economics standpoint, is to create something that has never been created before. In other words, in order to be a proficient programmer, someone who people will pay money for, you have to be able to program like a chef cooks. And yet, many online courses have not gone much farther than teaching you how to follow instructions. We love easy. Google can answer any question in an instant, and not only that, it can read your mind. We can drive to almost any location without even actually knowing how to get there, with just this. And taking pictures and videos is easier than ever before. And as if it's still not easy enough, we can now Snapchat videos with one touch of the thumb instead of two. Technology makes things easy. That's what they're for. However, not everything that's easier is better. There are some situations where it's actually better to have things more difficult. And learning is one of them. Psychology researcher Robert Bjork has shown in a series of experiments that when people learn something quickly, they tend to learn it in a more shallow way, and they tend to forget it quicker. And also, they're not as able to apply it to different situations and relate it to what they already know. One of the experiments went like this. Two groups of students were asked to do a reading comprehension test, where they have to read an article and then answer questions about the material covered in that article. The first group of students, before they read the article, they were given a summary outline of that article. For the second group of students, they also received a summary outline. However, this outline is in a scrambled order with respect to the article. Guess how they did? Well, the students in the first group, they did better in terms of recall. However, when they were asked to do some creative problem-solving tasks, something that requires deeper understanding of that material, the second group of students outperformed the first. The brain has two subsystems. There is the fast, intuitive, instinctual, reflexive, automatic, primitive brain, and there is the slow, methodical, analytical, logical, higher level, and more calculating part of the brain. Normally, people tend to default to using their fast system. But when they encounter something that is more difficult or counterintuitive, that is when they switch to their slow system. The more you think about a concept using your slow system, the better you store it in your long-term memory. And also, the better you're able to retrieve it later, and also the better you're able to relate it to other concepts that you already know or that you come across. In other words, if you want to learn something well, really well, chef level well, then you actually want to make sure that you don't learn in a hurry. Instead, you're better off learning the material slowly and effortfully. A course that makes it easy for students to learn may in fact, in the long run, be less effective. Difficult is better. So what does this mean for you, the learner? Number one, learn slower. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't rush to move on. Number two, deliberately make connections between the material you're learning and the material that you already know. Number three, make it your own. Customize, tweak the material so that it's more challenging for you and also so that it's more interesting to you. Here, let me give you an example. Let's head over to Codecademy.com. There we are. I'm going to log in. I think I have an account, although I'm not sure. So it looks like I am 15% on my JavaScript, last active 1 year ago. So I'm going to continue. Okay, I'm dropped into here where it says check if the user is ready to play. I wonder what that means. So confirm you have some programming skills. Time to make something you can show people. We're going to show you how to program a code your own adventure game. It'll have a basic storyline, have the user make some choices, and have a happy ending, blah, blah, blah. Instructions. One is always polite to ask your user if they are ready to play. Use the confirm command. Make sure your the user is ready to play. For example, I would use the sentence, I am ready to play. Add whatever phrase you would like in the confirm. Okay, using the confirm command, I am ready. I'm gonna deviate from their suggestion somewhat. I'm gonna say let's play. So let's play. Okay, so it says let's play, and I have the option of saying okay or cancel. And it says, way to go, start next lesson. Well, what if I didn't want to start the next lesson yet? Experiment a little. Especially when the going is easy, you want to ask questions. Dwell a little bit, experiment a little bit. Like, what would happen, for example, if I said cancel? What would be the difference? How would I know if the user clicked on cancel or OK, for example? Is there a way for me to tell? Well, maybe it returns some value to me. So, what if I had this result? Oh, and actually, I guess that it does show me. Let me undo this. I think this console shows me the result, if I'm not mistaken. So if I said OK, it shows me true. On the other hand, if I say cancel, then it tells me false. So in other words, if I save this result in a variable I called result, I can later on write an if statement. I'm gonna rename this to play, so that this can read like if play, then confirmed. Let's do it. And on the other hand, if they didn't want to play, we could say something else like maybe next time ? Something like that, right? So let's try that. If I say OK, it says confirmed, let's do it. If I say cancel, then it says maybe next time.
So that's me learning JavaScript on Codecademy. The 3 principles that I wanted to demonstrate are: number 1, dwell on it, don't move on so quickly. Number 2, mix it up with the things that you already know. And number 3, make it your own. Question of the day. Many of the developers I've talked to have a course or some online resource or a book that have really helped them, really empower them on their journey to becoming a developer. What is that resource for you? Please answer in the comments, and I will see you next time.